Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Kristal.
How are you?
Janie.
Good, thanks.
Good. Okay, so our last episode, we were umming and ahhing about whether we were going to go a little bit more in depth with our sibling loss, and because it can be a little bit deep for some. But with regards to the feedback that we've had over the last week, I think a lot of people are inquisitive in a loving way, and because the feedback was wonderful, like we got a lot of support for mentioning it and stuff like that, but there are a lot of questions. I've received a lot of questions about random little things, so yeah, I don't think letting people know our trauma bond story is a bad idea.
No, okay, so Kelly, I always tell you go first. So you go first.
No.
No, you go. I'll go after you.
Why?
I don't know, you just go first.
No, I don't want to go first.
I also don't want to go first. Okay. So, let's see where to start. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about Allan as how we grew up together. Okay, so he was my older brother. He was 2 years older than me. And we grew up very, very, very close. So whatever Allan could do, I could do better. It was one of those things. And all my cousins, I was actually the only girl really in our little cousin group that we had. So if they rode motorbikes, I rode motorbikes. If they jet skied, I jet skied.
Awesome.
Whatever they did, I could do until I got to about 16, 17. Then he was, I can't go out. I can't do this.
Yeah, because
I'm a girl.
Cape Town Barbie, Kristal.
Yeah, because I'm a girl. So because I'm a girl, I wasn't allowed to do anything. And he had more authority over me than my own parents. So if he said, I'm not going out.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I'm not going out. So we were very, very, very close. So like I said in the last podcast, when he left school, when he matriculated, I left because I wouldn't go to school without him. Bearing in mind, at school, no one was allowed to talk to me. If anyone, like there were a few people, like there was this boy, I was his friend, but nothing like, not his bestie. And we always greeted each other in the corridors. And one day he stopped saying hello to me.
Shame, Allan took care of it.
And I was like, but why is this boy not saying hello to me? I'm greeting him like in his face and he's ignoring me. So I asked him, I said, why are you not saying hello to me anymore? Like, did I offend you? Did I upset you? He said, no, I'm not allowed to talk to you. So I said, gosh. Oh, why? He goes, no, I got hung up in the bathroom for the last half an hour because I said hello to you. So no one was ever allowed to talk to me. There was a group of my brother's friends that till today, they look after me. If we went out, I was only allowed to go out if they were with me. If I went to the bathroom, they had to follow me. So he was very, very protective over me. And moving to Cape Town, coming from this big Lebanese family, we had no one. We had no family there. So it was just me and him. So that made our bond even stronger. Because if we joined together, we did go out together. Whatever we did from 18 up until 22, we did it, not 22, he was 21. So from 13 up until 18, everything we did was just the two of us. There was no cousins. There wasn't anyone around us.
It's actually amazing that your relationship was that close, even though you guys, I mean, that age gap, it's close, but if I think about my brother and I, we're less than 2 years apart. And we grew up obviously very close.
Yes.
Man, but we boxed, eh?
Really?
Bad.
No, Allan and I didn't. We really liked each other.
No, we fought, and everyone thought that we were twins for some very odd reason, but complete opposites.
Okay.
Literally, like if you think about oil and water, like complete opposites, but same.
Yeah.
But we fought. From small teenage years, like I think we tried to kill each other. So it's very cool to hear that your relationship with Allan for your entire life with him
what we were
was
very
that
close.
way inclined.
And Shane, we do have it. I mean, Amber's the younger one, but there's a very big age gap between Amber and Allan was 8 years, and myself and Amber was 6 years. So she was always like the baby.
That's incredible though. So between Barry and Caitlyn 7 years, between myself and Caitlyn 6 years.
So very similar yet again, another similarity. So so after been close and whatever. Allan was very successful. Very, 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 very. He was a millionaire before he was 21.
Where did that money go?
We used it. No, I'm joking. We reinvested it. So, yeah, he really was so successful. He was really, and all on his own. He was into property. So
From the beginning.
Yeah, so he used to, before this whole property market boomed, he was on it. He would buy property, sell property.
Wasn't he also very athletic?
No, not at all. But he did everything. Whatever there was, boats, jet skiing, motorbikes, whatever was going, Allan did it, and he did it the max. So getting to this, building up to the actual story, he went away to the Breda River with a friend of his that had just bought a holiday house at the Breda River. And they had their motorbikes with them, they had the boats with them, they had everything with them. And Allan was a reckless person. You know, if he rode a bike.
Extremist.
Yeah, if he rode a bike.
Adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, he did his thing. He was no angel. And that day, he phoned to tell my dad he's not coming home because, you know, it was nighttime and he didn't want to drive in the night. He said he'll be safe rather and come in the day.
Yeah.
So we were all fine. And the strangest thing is before he died, a week before he died, he kind of told us he was going to die.
It's so weird.
Like he said to us, at my funeral, play this song. When I die, he told us exactly what was going to happen. He told us he was going to die. And, you know, in the moment, you don't.
No, you don't.
You don't
I'll
think
say
about
that every
it.
second day. I'm what, my funeral song.
Yeah, so he says, play this song at my funeral, offer the people this when I die. And we would, and I'm like, no, when I die, you must give everyone coated your chocolates at the church. Like, we were having a full conversation. And then my mother was saying, she was also in the conversation, and my auntie from Joburg was with us. My mom was saying, you know, when someone dies and people sympathize with you, and when they cry and that, they're taking your pain. You know, they're taking a bit of your pain. That's why people sympathize and stuff like that. So anyway, that was the whole week before. So that night, that afternoon, it was a Monday, at like 4 o'clock, he phones, he says, no, he's not coming home. And then he said it's just going to be safer. About an hour later, my dad gets a phone call to say he died. But now my father doesn't tell us because the Breda River from where we are is like a 2.5, 3 hour drive, and now my father doesn't know how to tell us Allan died. So he told us.
Did they tell your dad on the phone how?
My dad knew he died. We didn't know. My mom didn't know. None of us. And it was December the 22nd, and our whole family, we arranged everyone to come to our house.
December 22nd is my mother's birthday.
For the December 22nd. So there were people, we were at the airport that day, twice a day, getting everyone was coming to us to celebrate Christmas together. So my dad knew Allan died, but he didn't tell us. He just said to us, Allan's been in a very bad accident and he's in hospital and I don't know if he's going to make it. That was all we got out of it. I was in the airport picking up a cousin of mine. Amber phoned me crying, and she was small at the time. I think she was 10 or 11.
Shame, man.
And she said she doesn't know what's wrong, but mommy and daddy are going mad. Something happened to Allan. So I'm waiting for my cousin to, come out the airport, terminals and that. And I said, Michael, I don't know what's happened, but something's happened to Allan, Anyway, we race back home to Somerset, and it's a bit of a distance from the airport. And then you know how it is, word gets out.
Yeah.
Everyone in Joburg's phoning, what's happening, so now my father knows Allan's dead, but no one else knows he's died. Everyone thinks he's, in hospital badly hurt. So we get to the house, and they said I had all the kids with me, and they said they're going to go to the Breda River to the hospital to see Allan. So I think my dad must have told his brother or somebody that Allan died. He must have told someone, because half the people in Joburg knew Allan died, and half didn't know. So we were getting phone calls. No, he's dead. No, he's not dead. He's he's in hospital. Everyone. I didn't know.
Bad news spreads faster than good.
When my cousin was racing, he was driving. My mom was in the back, and it was my cousin and my dad. They were going to the Breda River, but he was driving so fast. My dad said they're going to end up getting killed. Going. So he has to tell him that there's no rush.
Oh, yeah.
So they pulled over, and my father just said to my cousin, And now my cousin and my brother were best friends. Ellen idolized Michael. They were besties. And my dad just said, Michael, like, slow down, there's no rush. There's nothing we can do. And then that's how they found out he actually died. And how he died, he was laying down on a hammock. So the hammock was in between two pillars.
Concrete pillars. And he was laying down, and they were using it the whole weekend. Not to say no one sat on it and they just put it up. It was up the whole weekend. And he lay down and he was talking to his friend, and he asked his friend a question. And as his friend turned around, it was done. What
so
happened?
the pillar, so where he was, by his head, where he was laying, the pillar snapped in half and snapped his neck.
So it landed on him.
Yeah, he passed away instantly. It was an instant
type
of thing. So that was Ellen's story.
We should have probably started this podcast off with a trigger warning. Maybe not for sensitive viewers, because we do go into grave detail. But I think...
Look, it is what it is.
What it is.
And it was, I can tell you, like I always say to you, we're talking years ago. This didn't happen anytime recently. This was in 2003. So it was many years ago. But like we always say, it feels like yesterday. I can remember it like it was yesterday that this happened. I remember him. There's nothing I don't remember about him and about the incident in particular. So... yeah, Kelly, that's my story with my brother. There's a very different trauma bonding, because usually we do it on a much lighter note.
We just throw in some jokes, but we have to have, obviously, a certain level of respect, because, like I said, not everybody understands the sense of humor that we have, and offense is taken. I feel like I need to say sorry. It's so weird. No, so... oh, man, I don't even know where to start. Everybody always asks me about my bees. I've got bees tattooed all over my body. It's one of the most awesome symbolic things that my sister and I shared, but only after her death. So my sister was also born at the Marymount Hospital. I was 6 years old. My brother was 7. And the day that she was born, we were taken to the hospital to go and see her and stuff. And Barry and I were playing in the garden. Long story short, we get called to go and see her. I wanted to run and see her first. So I'm running down like these concrete stairs in the garden. And as I lean my hand on the wall, a bee stings me on my hand. So I got stung by a bee the first day she was born. Anyway, get there. See her. She comes home. Everything's beautiful. I don't want to go into too much detail about the next part with the bees, but there was an incident that happened, and I needed to get my sister out of the house. And like I said, I was 6 years old. She was 2 months old at the time. And there was something going on, so I needed to go and get her. She was my doll from the time she came home. This was not, I completely took her away from my mother. This is my child. I think I changed her 16 times a day. That poor child. Look, she was 4.9 kilos at birth, so she could handle, being played with like a doll, and 65 centimeters long. So anyway, I needed to get her out the house, packed a nappy bag quickly, got all the essentials, and there was like this pink crocheted blankets that I'd wrapped over her, because I just picked her up, she was sleeping, and I ran out of the house. And I ran 2 blocks down from our house, and I went up one of the roads, and there was like this big bush on the corner. And I was hiding in the bush holding her, and I was just waiting. And it was a rosemary bush. And I was just sitting there holding her. And if she had cried, someone would have heard, And we were covered in bees. Covered. I never said a word. She never cried. There was just bees crawling all over us. And not one of us got stung.
Sure.
It was crazy.
Getting cold.
Yeah, so anyway, after that, that's the bee story. I just wanted to cover the bee story because people have asked about bees. And then obviously after she passed, there is just bees everywhere all the time. So I really do take that
as her being around you.
Yeah. So, like I said, 6 years apart. Why do I keep on saying that? So Caitlyn went to Glenada Primary School as well. And she went to Glen Vista High School as well. But unfortunately, due to my excellent record at Glen Vista High School, she was ridiculed from the minute she put her foot into the school. So we actually ended up taking her out. I think she was in grade 9, which is standard 7. And she went to a homeschool type of thing. Anyway, also same thing. The school wasn't for her. She was really laid back. Really laid back. So just didn't want to do school anymore. And my mom was like, you know what, if you're not keen, you're not keen. I was devastated. I was like, you will finish school. You will that. Like I'm the mother. Anyway, she dropped out. And I said, you're not just going to sit around doing nothing. And I was really very strict on her because she was the younger sibling. And it really is true when people say the older sister always treats the younger sibling like their child. Okay? So I said, there's no way you're taking a gap year. You're not stuffing around, wasting time. You're coming to work for me. So I had already had my salon. And it was the last thing she wanted to do. But she came in and she was brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. Not a people's person, but wasn't fazed. I'm telling you now, when I tell you that my sister was the type of person that walked through life with absolutely no fucks she was not fazed. Then you get me being people-pleasing to another extent and her standing there all confused.
Like why?
Because what? The version of you that I know is like this. And here you are, people.
Trying to please everybody.
Yeah, and she was kind, awesome, phenomenal. Everybody that she was friends with loved her. She just wasn't fazed. She did not sweat the small stuff. Perfect way to explain her. So, so she works for me. She's working with me for a couple of years. And also, I think being around me and all my friends, she matured a hell of a lot quicker than she should have. Not necessarily in a bad way, but she managed to accomplish a lot of things in her few years, which I think now obviously is great. So she met her love of her life when she was 15, and they were a little bit on and off here and there. Anyway, ended up getting back together, and she ended up having my niece. And I don't want to lie to you, I think she was 21 when she had Georgia. And then her and my brother-in-law got married and she fell pregnant and had Nathan. So obviously her and my brother-in-law were married, living together, and she still worked for me. I mean, I had Levi, he was 3 years old. She had Georgia was 3 years old. And we did everything together. Every single day we saw each other. The kids went to the same school. I would drop, she would fetch. We just
worked with each other.
Literally, yeah. And she went to Park Lane Clinic in 2016, July, to go and have Nathan. Now, with her first pregnancy with Georgia, she ended up having preeclampsia. So Georgia was born 7 weeks prem. And thank God both of them were perfectly fine. Don't want to go into too many gory details, but they were both fine. So that was a complicated pregnancy. Then with Nathan, nothing was wrong. She sailed through Nathan's pregnancy. Whole 9 months. Everything was perfect to the date. I mean, she made it look like a walk in the park. Whereas when I was pregnant, I was the walking dead. No, you name it. I didn't handle it well. She made it look like a breath of fresh air. And she was a natural mom. I think because she was so chilled. So anyway, she goes in Park Lane, like I said, and has Nathan, scheduled Caesar. She wanted to try for natural, but because she had to have a Caesar with Georgia, they just advised that it would be better. So she had her Caesar, and Nathan was born on the Monday. So Caitlyn came home on the Wednesday afternoon, which was a little bit weird because I thought she would be in for maybe another day. And I went and saw her in the morning, and she said, no, she's coming home on the Wednesday afternoon. She's perfectly fine. Everyone's fine. She wants to get baby home. She wants to settle. And I phoned her and I said, listen, I've just fetched Levi from school. He's got a bit of the green snots. I really don't think it's a good idea that I bring him because he's going to be all over the baby. I said, so I'm going to skip dinner tonight. my mom had flown in for the birth, so my mom was with her, and I'm going to go home. So she phoned me back and she said, don't be stupid. Just come for dinner. Like, the kids are fine. I said, listen, seriously, he's a brand newborn baby. Let me take him home, sort him out. I'll see you in the morning. Leave out school. I'll come straight to you. And at about 4:15 in the morning, the weirdest thing is, like, I would wake up, walk straight into my bathroom and put my shower on and get into my shower. This particular morning, woke up, walked into my bathroom, put my shower on, and then I heard Levi make a noise. So I came out of the bathroom and my phone was flashing. It was on silent, but it was flashing, ringing, and it was my brother-in-law. And he said, you need to get her now. There's something wrong with Caitlyn. She's having a fit. So I was like, oh, what the hell? Now, I am so calm in situations like that. So, like, I'll fly off the handle for minuscule things, but when it comes to situations like this, I'm calm. I'm like, okay, breathe, let's do this. Picked Levi up, switched off the shower, grabbed my bag. I'm in my pajamas. And I literally lived 5 minutes away from her house. Got to the house, long story short, walked into her room, and she was, like, you know, as soon as you look at them. But your mind
tells you something else.
Yeah. So as soon as you look and you realize what's actually happening, your mind takes over and it's like, no, this isn't what's happening. Anyway, it was, the ambulance took about, I don't want to lie, 48 minutes to arrive. And obviously in this time, I tried everything to help her. Ambulance gets there, brings the gurney in, and she had her Clexane injections with her at the house. So they were giving her Clexane injections. I had Clexane injections. It's clot prevention, so it was a normal thing, kind of, well, for us anyway, because we knew about it. I just didn't know what a common thing it was. So as soon as the ambulance paramedics arrived, go into the room, get her on the gurney, this and that and whatever, and we said she's, had a seizure 3 days ago, this is the story, and the paramedics just looked at each other.
Like and, they knew.
Yeah. And I looked at them and I was like, what? Like, just get her, because in my mind she's having seizures.
She's going to come around,
you know. And they were like, no, she's going to be fine. And I was like, is she going to be fine? Because she flatlined twice at the house. So get her into the ambulance. Now, this is the thing that blows my mind forever. I don't do anything. I don't let her do anything alone. I controlled her life. I literally was like her mother. But when they loaded her in that ambulance, I thought about the kids. And I grabbed her leg and I said, I'm right behind you. I'm coming now. And I turned around and I looked at my niece and nephew and I said, I have to take them to school. And my mom was like, what? I said, the kids need to go to school. It's like, I don't know what happened. And I picked up my niece and I took her inside and I dressed her.
It's like something comes over you and you just...
I took Levi home and I dressed him. And then I drove to about 2 or 3 petrol stations looking for baby formula because Nathan needed to feed. I ended up phoning my best friend Dom. She had Cooper 2 or 3 weeks prior to Nathan's birth, so she had formula. Why didn't I phone her first? I got there, walked in, I said, I need formula. I went back to the house and I made Nathan a bottle. I fed Nathan. Dropped the kid. I knew.
It's because you know yourself what it is.
My brother-in-law phoned me on the way there saying, you better get you now, you need to get you now. The second time he phoned me, I knew. Because he just said, you need to get you now. So when I arrived at the union, there was already people standing outside waiting for me. I don't know if maybe he had said, listen, we got a T-Rex running in here or what. And it was a little bit of a battle to get through to where she was because they wanted me to go into some room. And I walked in and I just saw her. Obviously, I started a bit of a commotion. Why?
Why?
Why are you not working on her? Happen? What is happening here? Like, carry on, work on her kind of a thing, whatever. Anyway, I had my last say with her a couple of things, and I just didn't understand how. She's 25 years old. She's literally just celebrated her 25th birthday on the 20th of July. It's the 28th of July. Please tell me how my sister died. And yeah, she had an embolism. So she had a blood clot. They say it started in her leg and it travelled up and went through her lungs. That was pretty much when I was with her at the house. It was the lung part, and then obviously by the time it went into her heart. However, what for me is incredible and the will of a mom, when I went and had meetings with specialists, her gynae, I went to Park Lane, I sat with the board, we went through every single, from beginning to end of her being admitted into that hospital to her ending up at Union. And my time frame, when I was having the talk with her gynae, he looked at me and he still said no ways. Because my brother-in-law phoned me, it was about 5:10 in the morning, and my sister's time of death that morning was 7:50.
So she stayed till she knew the kids were safe with you?
Well, no. This is what he said, that's impossible. He said, because for a 25-year-old girl, the clot, and she was riddled with clot, the clot that ended up killing her, you've only got a window of about 10 to 12 minutes. How did she fight for 2.5 hours? That just blows my mind.
Because they know.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's definitely not an easy thing to go through, and it's definitely nothing, me personally, I'm talking myself, you never get over it.
We say all the time, when you say it's been 17 years, and you say, I know it sounds so silly.
Yeah, but
it sounds so silly, but no,
it's
been 6 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think you get over it. I think you learn to live with what you've been handed. There's no getting over it. It's always going to be there. It's always going to be a thing. Till today, every day I think of Allan. I wake up, I think about him. I go to bed, I think about him. It just becomes part of
I never realised how much of my life I lived for Caitlyn. And I still, in her death, live so much of my life for Caitlyn.
Yeah, it's like that. Even we'll do things. It's like Allan's not even dead, in a way.
But remember we were speaking the one time and we said we don't even speak about them in the past tense.
Yeah, it's like they still, people say, how many children are you? And I go, no, I have an older brother, myself and my sister. And maybe it's us keeping their spirit alive. I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
That's or if it's a coping mechanism.
I love talking about my sister. So some people feel, or they'll apologize for mentioning her name. And I'm like, no, I love it. Because she lived.
Yes. It's amazing when people send you stuff even actually now, the other day, a cousin of mine sent a little video of when Allan and I were small on the motorbikes. And she said, I was thinking about you. I came across this. And that's so nice.
I love it. Listen to me, even now, people also, they'll send photos that they found and they're like, I don't want to upset you. It's not upsetting. It is awesome. I love it.
And I
absolutely love it.
At the same time, there's a lot of stuff that comes with it, facing the reality of what you go through after they pass away.
That version of you is gone.
Yeah, you're not the same.
No.
You just, I don't know, you automatically, and I'm talking as siblings, not as, no. Not as a parent but as a sibling. You just grow up instantly. You have no choice. But there you took on the responsibility of her children.
No, but only for a short period of time. And look, every day, thank God for their dad and their granny, my brother-in-law's mom. They've moved to Portugal. They've been in Portugal now for a couple of years. Ripped my heart from my chest. But yes, while they were still living here, I did.
But you still do, even though you're far away.
Oh, no.
You still
yes,
do
100%.
You're there, you're present.
Yes, yeah.
So it's you take on, I had to take on looking after my mother and father. Because after Allan died, they lost.
Now, remember we mentioned faith in the one episode. My mom's faith definitely got her
through.
Yeah.
My mother used to sleep with prayer books in her chest.
And I went the opposite way.
I don't know which way I went. I think I tried to go the opposite way, but there wasn't. I must say, I had the most amazing family support system. I don't think myself, my sister, my mother, or my father would be where we are today without our family.
See, now that for me is friends. My friend, the support that I got from my circle of friends it's something that you carry with you until the day you die. I'll
certain,
never forget that.
Yeah, there's certain people that were with me from the day it happened till today. They'll always be around, be there for me, you know, and I do feel your support system gets you through
so much.
So,
and then, like, I think I mentioned as well, like, when you remember, I stopped drinking and then started drinking after my sister passed away. It's not an excuse, but, and this is also what I tell clients when they come for grief counseling and stuff. Very straightforward. So obviously I counsel in a different way. I'm not your clinical. I counsel very open, very differently. But when they say, when does it get better? It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't get better. The biggest mistake that you're going to make is
pretending.
And trying to find your norm. You just want to get back to who you were when that person was alive. You just want to feel normal and okay again. You are never going to feel that way again. So the sooner, for lack of a better, the sooner you come to terms with this is your new reality and you need to
come to terms with it.
Wake up every day and learn how to relive.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I wasted years trying to feel normal.
I always say, like, my thing when we were younger and we were going out, myself and my brother, I always bought a bottle of Moe. That was I walked into a club and bought a bottle of Moe. Also reasons no one could spark my drink. So we always said we'll buy a bottle so we know where the bottle's coming from.
Yeah, I'm walking around and I'm like, I'm just going to put this down in the middle of the DJ box.
So, like, that was our thing, was I always bought a bottle of Moe. Every night I went out, a bottle of Moe. And shame, when he passed away, I always used to tell my dad, the bubbles just don't taste the same.
Oh.
The bubbles don't taste the same anymore. It's one of those things, nothing, and you look for it, hey? You search.
You do.
You search for it, but let me tell you, it never is the same again. And that's why I say you never get over it, you just learn to live with it.
Yeah.
It becomes a norm. It becomes a norm not being normal.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
100%.
So, yeah, that's the story. And I mean, I can go on and on.
I was just about to say, like, so many things come to mind. I want to mention this, I want to mention that, and talk about this one time and then this.
But even, like I said, even dealing with it afterwards, I'm sure I remember Allan. I remember when it happened, like a tea. But don't ask me. There's like a portion after he died that I don't remember.
No.
I have like memory loss. Like, people will say, but I know you. And I'm like, but I really don't know you.
But
like,
you do. You get
no,
fog brain.
I know you. I went out with you. You drove this car. This is where we went.
That's survival mode.
So there is a lot of, I mean, like I said, I can go on and on of little things that happen now since that happens to you. It becomes, like you said, trauma.
And you never think it's going to happen to you.
No, never ever.
I think one of the worst things that I do sometimes with friends is I say, especially like if how do you cope? I'll say, imagine, like you got a brother or a sister.
No, I won't use those words.
I say, imagine. And then it becomes an emotional thing because your brain as a human does not let you comprehend even entertaining that thought.
I won't, you know.
You can't even think. You can't even imagine it.
When a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, actually passed away first before Allan passed away. And I was from nursery school, we were together, up until primary school, up until my last year that I lived in Joburg in high school. We were friends from small. And he passed away in a car accident. And I was so heartbroken that he passed away. And I kept crying, but I was crying for his sisters and his mother. Because I know how close they were as a family. And all I kept on saying to my mother is, Mommy, imagine it was Allan. Imagine it was Allan. How would you feel? And I was losing my mind. And then it did happen to us.
And you thought you knew.
Yes, and it's, you know, I never want to wish it on anybody. And it's something, if you're going through it, you will be okay. You know, you will. The sun sets and the sun rises and you will be okay. You just have to choose to be strong. You have a choice.
If you don't feel like being strong, don't be strong.
But be strong. If you can choose strength. Because it's really not an easy thing to go through. Because as you get older, you go through stages in life where you get married, you have children, and you always wonder, what if they were here?
100%. That's one of my biggest.
That's why you never get over it.
Because you're grieving the loss, You're grieving the present. You're grieving what should have been.
Exactly.
I always think to myself how different things should be.
If Caitlyn was here,
I grieve the life that
should have
stolen from us.
Exactly.
I grieve the relationship we should have now at this age.
Exactly. Like, there's many things I always say, you're not, even, and like, I use Allan in my own, even till today, if Mish does something to irritate me, and, I don't know, he'll stub his toe, and I'll be like, yo, that's Allan.
You were ugly to
That's
me.
Allan because you were ugly to me. So, like, you still, they're there, and you never get over it, because you always wonder, if they were here, how would it be?
My group of friends is phenomenal like that. Like, we'll be sitting somewhere and my friend Nicolette, she's got twins. The most beautiful little ones. But anyway, they have gotten so used to seeing a bee that they call the bee Auntie Caitlyn.
Relate to it.
Or it's Cappy. So like
Isn't
her
that
daughter
lovely?
will come running and be like, there's an Auntie Caitlyn.
But that's cute. Even our kids, all our kids, they all know who Allan
all
is.
know.
They all know, and they all talk
Everyone,
about
yeah.
him like they knew him.
A song will play and one of the friends will be like, okay, Caitlyn. Okay.
That's how it is. So like I said, we could go on and on, which I don't think we should carry on.
No.
I'm sure we have spoken enough about this. And maybe we go back to the subjects
Yeah.
at a later stage. But yeah, that's what happened to our siblings. And that's where we've got this trauma bond that we
Yeah.
relate to so much with each other. And yeah, so I think we should end this one. And we'll be back next week.
Maybe. See you later.